First of all, I was fortunate to be on that first film. I didn't have a starring role in Force 5. I was supposed to. And I auditioned for Robert Klaus and Fred Weintraub, who are the people who were responsible for all the Bruce Lee movies. So, Enter the Dragon and so forth. So, it was really a wonderful experience. Then that's where I got a chance to meet the Benny Urquidez's and Richard Norton's and all these other great guys. So, I got exposure to a set, but I had never been on the set before. So now I had my fight scenes and I got to be in a lot good many scenes and saw the process, but yet never had dialogue. Richard Norton gave me a lot of great, uh, I guess, guidance. And when you do have to speak, here's how things like that. So I was thanking Richard Norton this the other day for all of his guidance. He don't remember any of it. He remembers hanging out, but usually that you don't. So now imagine this: I'm a fighter, and I'm the number one fighter, and I go all over the world fighting. As a fighter, you never project, ever, ever, ever project any emotions inside a ring. You're hardcore. And so now what you have to do, if somebody hits you or strikes you, you don't project emotion. You don't project pain or sorrow or anger. You keep it in. And we're taught as kids, remember, you get hit, you suck it up, you don't show it. It's the opposite for filmmaking. So everything you learned from fighting, you had to relearn for the film industry. And you had to learn not only to project with your face and your body, but you also had to learn to telegraph your moves. And then in martial arts in the ring, you never telegraph. You throw your punches and kicks very quickly in a straight line and whatever it might be. In the film world, I had to be taught totally different, that you don't throw the punch this way, you show the audience the punch first. Then you cut cross across the face, and you miss by this far, but the audience can't tell if the camera's positioned behind you. So it was a whole relearning process, and the person who really helped me was Stephen Lambert. So Stephen says, "All right, let's figure out how to do this," and he taught me about screen fighting. Even though I had been in some Pat Johnson had worked with me with Richard Norton and other people. But Stephen was the one that says, okay, you don't hit, because I can't remember the guy's name and he didn't stay, but believe it or not, this person was a pretty big star later. He was in one of the scenes and we were rehearsing. And as we're rehearsing, I know we never hit to the head, but as martial artists, we always made light contact to the body. In this first film with Force 5, we could touch the body. You just touch. We're all martial artists. We knew how to do it. Hong Kong films, you actually hit. But with this guy, I touched his shirt when I threw a punch as we were rehearsing. And he threw a temper tantrum at Steve. "Steve, what's going on? He hit me." And he goes, "He didn't hit you that hard. No, he touched me. He should never touch me. Oh my God, I can't work with him." I just remember he got so upset and he left. I've seen that guy on different films now. And I go, oh yeah, in different movies going, oh, that's the guy I punched. But he was such a prima donna, don't touch me. Oh my God, you can't hit me. And then Steve came over and he was so wonderful because he goes, "Keith, let me help you here. Here, we don't touch at all." And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know, I'm sorry the guy got so upset and stormed off, but I didn't barely touch him, you know." And so he says, "No, what we do is we miss." And I was going, wow, what a different world. And, so we rehearsed and he taught me. And it's so important. It's not that you learn how to throw punches, but you learn how to react from punches. You learn how to sell a technique. And it's your selling of the technique that really defines the whole fight sequence. Let's think about this. You have the star Shokasugi. He throws a kick, powerful kick. If the person doesn't react to that kick, then it makes him look weak. So it's not really how good show is. It's really how good the person that he's throwing the technique is. So when that person reacts and does a pirouette and falls on the ground, you go, oh my gosh, look how great show is. The audience doesn't realize he just hit air. He didn't do a thing. All he did was throw an air technique, but the guy reacted. So it's very important to find people that you fight against that are really wonderful with their facial expressions and how they sell it with their body and how they really make you look good. And if you want to break into films, make that star look good by really reacting the best way. So to me, that's the irony of all filmmaking. People go, this guy's great, this guy's not. I go, no, it's the person reacting, doing the flips and turns, That's the person who's really the greatest person because they're selling it. We're not hitting it. We're not hitting anybody. All we're throwing are air techniques and air punches the whole time. And people go, that can't be true. They go, Stephen Gall's the greatest fighter because he hits somebody and the guy falls and he dies. No, he just hit the air. He just really hit the air. The guy reacted by falling on the ground and dying. So getting back to your question is, yes, I had a hard time making the transition from the ring to the screen, basically, because I had showed no emotion in the ring, but now I was having to learn how to show emotion on the screen. And Shokasugi would literally take me, believe it or not, and put me in front of a mirror and say, Keith, let's work on your reactions. And then the show would go, let me show you how I work on my reactions. And he would open his eyes, he'd get in the mirror, and he'd be so animated. And he would go through all the different emotions in front of the screen to show me how he practices every day. And he'd say, okay, Keith, your turn, you do it. And he'd want me to act just like he was acting. So it was a pretty good transition. It was difficult and it wasn't easy. And the reason it was more difficult for me than most people was because I was a world champion fighter. I was coming right from the ring, straight to the screen. And when the director said, right before they said action, I had it in my mind how to do all of it. I was ready. But when the director would say, she would go, shit, that's no different to me from hearing, let's fight. As soon as they said action, I would climb up again and I wouldn't show enough emotion. And I remember when I did my Jackie Chan film, Jackie would work with me the same exact way. Keith, more emotion. You got to be bigger, because they're all over the top and really big. And Shokasugi was like animated cartoon from Japan to me. And he always had his own expressions and the whole. And sometimes I'd giggle, upset or fighting him. I giggle because he's making sounds and noises as he's doing it, because he's so caught up into his whole experience. Caramba, that's what he always says, caramba. He would do it, and I'm almost giggling and listening to him. As a fighter, there's no sound that comes out unless you're maybe punching or something. But yeah, so getting back to your question, it wasn't as smooth. I wasn't really that polished as an actor because guess what? I wasn't an actor. Chuck Norris called me up after Revenge of the Ninja. And Chuck calls me up and he said, Keith, I just saw Revenge of the Ninja. Congratulations, you did a good job. I said, Chuck, I'm so confident with my kicks and punches, but it was kind of, it was a little difficult with the acting, because it was hard for me to show the emotion. And he goes, Keith, I had the same exact problems that you did when I first started acting. He says, because we're fighters and we came from the ring and we were taught not to show emotion. And so now we have a new medium and we have to learn how to show that emotion to tell a story. But it was so rewarding for me to have Chuck Norris call me personally and experience the same thing that I went through, because I did.